guys, this is James with RogueDuelist Trade, and on this channel we talk about current and upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh product and whether or not you should invest your money in order to profit. We have a very exciting video today because we have a lot more leaks of what is coming in Phantom Rage in the TCG, and Phantom Rage is going to be coming out very soon. So we are going to be doing an updated risk analysis on whether or not the risk is high or low for investing in Phantom Rage. So before we jump in, I have very exciting news. If you guys have been following this channel, you know that I have the RogueDuelist Trade Patreon in partnership with Pro Play Games, where we can get you guys product at near wholesale rates. And after working with Pro Play Games, we have been able to drop our patron costs down. Now guys, our pre-order window for Blazing Vortex and Freezing Chains closes at the end of October. So if you guys are serious about getting into Yu-Gi-Oh vending, this is not for people that are casually buying product. If you're serious about it, you definitely want to consider the RDT Patreon. And also, if you guys want some fun, new, exciting content on Yu-Gi-Oh, I've been doing a ton of Yu-Gi-Oh skits on my new channel, RogueDuelist TV. And also, if you guys like this type of content on Yu-Gi-Oh investments into modern Yu-Gi-Oh products, stop right now and subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video from me. So all right guys, let's jump into our updated risk analysis on Phantom Rage. So the OTS launch date for Phantom Rage is 11/5/2020 and the market launch date is 11/6/2020. Again, that's very important because pre-market launch, there's going to be vendors going out and doing pre-sales where the prices are going to be far more inflated, and once we hit market launch, we're going to have a lot more e-commerce vendors that are putting out product for sale, and then the price will dip. But for core product, the dip is not nearly as significant and should be still very profitable if you are an e-commerce vendor. So because this is a core set, we're getting 100 new cards. We are not getting any reprints except for kind of some of the Starlight rares. And in this set comes with 50 commons, 26 super rares, 14 ultra rares, 10 secret rares, and 5 Starlight rares. In every single pack, you get 9 cards, and that's 8 commons and 1 foil in every pack, which could include a Starlight, secret, ultra rare, or super rare. And also, if you guys are buying in cases, you get 12 display boxes per case, and you get 24 packs per display box. So go ahead and pause the video right now if you want to skim through all of the archetypes that are getting some level of support. One thing that's important in this product is that we are getting 17 world premiere cards, and typically what that means, those are TCG exclusive cards that we are getting in the TCG first. We are getting a TCG exclusive archetype that was announced by Ruggles in one of his recent videos that Konami sponsored. So we are going to be talking about that in more detail in this video. So our first metric is generic tech and meta cards. So if you guys would like to understand the definitions for each of these metrics, you can find that in the description down below, but they should be fairly straightforward. So these are all of the cards that I would consider to be generic tech meta cards. So we're going to be getting Alpha, the Master of Beasts, which is kind of like a new Pankratops. We're getting Warning Point, which is kind of like a new D barrier. We're getting Divine Arsenal, AA-zeus Sky Thunder, which is an amazing Xyz monster that is actually very easy to get out if you play an Xyz strategy at all in your deck. Raiders Knight and Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon, which is a perfect pair for Raiders Knight to get into Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon, who's kind of like a new Utopia double, but kind of better in my opinion. And then we also have Virtual World Kaibu Shenshin. So this card is technically for the Virtual World archetype, but it is a generic synchro monster that can be used in any strategy. So my top picks of cards that are probably going to have higher value from generic meta tech cards is going to be these on the screen right now. So starting with Alpha, the Master of Beasts. I really like this card because you can easily special summon him onto the field, and then you can return him and as many Beast, Wing Beast, Beast Warrior monsters on your field to the hand. And based on how many of those you return to your hand, you can return that many monsters on your opponent's side of the field. And it doesn't target. So this card is very good outside of a beast strategy, but it's also extremely good within a beast strategy. Next is Divine Arsenal, AA-zeus Sky Thunder. You can cheese him out very easily if a Xyz monster battled that turn. So it could be an Xyz monster on your opponent's side of the field or your side of the field. He is a walking evenly matched. You can send everything to the graveyard except himself, so he is very good. Next is Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon. In order for him to really be generically good, you need to run Raiders Knight, which does require 2 level 4 dark monsters, so you do have to play a predominantly dark deck. but still generic enough to where Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon basically gains the attack of all monsters on both sides of the field and can basically shut off the effects of all monsters on your opponent's side of the field. So he's basically just an amazing OTK facilitator. Next is Virtual World Kaibu Shenshin. He's basically a generic synchro monster, and what's very good about him is that he is a walking macrocosmos for cards that go onto the field. So that wouldn't work for discard effects, that would still go to the graveyard, but again, anything from field would be banished. He is a very good recursive card. As long as you have two different cards with different original types and attributes in your graveyard, you can banish them and get him back onto the field during the turn that he wasn't sent to the graveyard. Having a very good floodgate card that is recursive is extremely good, and I could definitely see people playing this in the meta. So overall, I feel that it is high in terms for generic meta cards that we are getting. I don't think it's as strong as like Rise of the Duelist with Triple Tactics Talent, Forbidden Droplets, those very, very generic tech cards that can be played in any deck. So I went ahead and graded this as a 4 because a lot of these cards are not extremely generic. Like you might have to have dark monsters, you have to run tuner monsters, you have to run Xyz monsters. The only thing that really is very generic is Alpha King Zeus and Warning Point, but honestly, Warning Point, I didn't include it in my top picks because it's just a bit slower as a trap card. It's extremely good, don't get me wrong, especially for going for strategy. It is a bit limiting because it's a trap card that you can't use without setting like an evenly matched or infinite impermanence. So the next metric is going to be new archetypes that are coming in Phantom Rage that may have more excitement in terms of casual and meta play. So the main archetypes, one, starting with our TCG exclusive archetype, which is Mutants. And the next archetype, which is very good for Beast Warrior, and Wing Beast strategies, is Tri-Brigade, which can be used as a very strong engine. And the next archetype is Virtual World. And the last archetype that, again, is a new archetype getting a lot of support is Dual Avatar. So my top picks from these archetypes is basically everything except Dual Avatar. Honestly, Dual Avatar looks like it might be fun, but I don't think there's going to be enough demand for it for those cards to actually have high value. Let's go ahead into my top pick singles coming in for these archetypes. So starting with Mutants, I'm only going to look at the higher rarity cards because a lot of cards seem to be coming as either supers or commons. So looking at Mutant Ultimus, this is basically the boss fusion monster coming in this archetype. He's not terribly hard to get out, but it does require some setup to get him out with some of the other support coming in this archetype. He is basically an Omni-Negate, where he can negate a monster, spell, or trap, and not only that, also banish the card after he negates it, and it doesn't target or destroy. Now, it does require you to have a mutant, monster, spell, or trap on your field or graveyard based on the type of card you're negating, but still, it's a very good card. And another thing that's great about it is that if it is destroyed by your opponent, you can recur 3 cards that are banished, monster, spell, and trap, I believe, that are mutant cards, back to your hand. The other cards that I think are top, and I'm going to talk about them at the same time, is Mutant MO5 and Mutant ST46. So both of these cards are search cards, where MO5 can search you a mutant monster, ST46 can search you a mutant spell or trap. And the other amazing thing is that you can tribute either of these cards and discard a card, and depending on whether you discard a monster, spell, or trap, you can special summon one of the boss mutant main deck monsters from your deck onto the field. So next are the top cards for Tri-Brigade. So these, in my opinion, are 2 of the better cards in terms that will probably have higher value. So starting with Baron Blossom, she's very good because she can be generically used in any beast, wing beast, beast warrior archetype. Once you get her onto the field, you can use her as an extender to special summon another level 4 or lower monster from your hand. And also, if she is sent to the graveyard, you can draw 1 card and put another card on the bottom of your deck from your hand. Next is Fractal, and the reason why I like him is the fact that you can Foolish Burial any wing beast, beast, or beast warrior card from your deck, I believe is level 3 or lower, and there is a Tri-Brigade monster to where if it's sent to the graveyard, you can search. So he's basically a 1-card combo. Next, let's talk about Virtual World. First, starting with Lulu, she can Foolish Burial from the deck, she can search a card, and she's an extender because she can get herself onto the field very easily. All of those reasons are the reasons why I feel she's going to be the higher value card. I believe she's one of the only higher rarity main deck monsters coming for Virtual World in Phantom Rage. And again, I've already talked about Shen Shen. He's an amazing card. It can be used generically generically, which again is another reason why it can have higher value, because it's not limited just to the virtual world archetype, but this is a very good boss floodgate monster that can be used across many decks, especially in virtual world. So overall, I went ahead and graded this as a 4. I don't know if there's going to be any new archetypes that are going to be completely like devastating our meta, so that's why I went ahead and graded this as a 4. Our next metric is legacy support. So there's a lot of legacy support that is coming in Phantom Rage, but there's really only 2 archetypes that I could see that is going to be getting a greater level of support. Phantom Knights and Raid Raptors, and I'm representing that in Raiders Knight because that supports both archetypes, and UA. And honestly, in terms of top picks, I don't think UA is really that great. I really think the higher value cards in legacy support is going to be the Raid Raptor Phantom Knight support, largely because it has a lot of meta relevance right now, with Bardiche being taken off the forbidden list and being now limited to 1, coming back into our meta, and the fact that this archetype can be pretty splashable in a lot of things in the meta today. So top cards that are coming in terms of Raid Raptor support and Phantom Knight support, I already talked about Raiders Knight and Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon. So Raiders Knight is basically a walking rank up magic card to where you can just detach a card and special summon an Xyz monster on top of him that is 1 rank higher. I believe it has to be a Raid Raptor Phantom Knight or Xyz Dragon card. Thus, Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon being one of the better cards to rank up into, because as I mentioned, he is an amazing OTK facilitator, can negate all monster effects on your opponent's side of the field as it goes in for the kill. Next is the Phantom Knights of Torn Scales. Not only is it a 1-card combo facilitator by being able to Foolish Burial, it is also an extender by easily being able to get itself onto the field. Next is Raider's Wing. Is very good because it is a Phantom Knight and Raid Raptor card, just like Torn Scale. What I like about this is that if it is in your hand or graveyard, you can detach a material from a Dark Xyz monster on your field and special summon them to the field. So it's very easy to be able to dump cards into your graveyard, so you can kind of use him somewhat as like a Destiny Hero Malicious, where you can be able to get an easy extender from your graveyard. So I like that a lot about him. And also, if he's used as material for an Xyz monster, that monster cannot be targeted by your opponent with card effects. And lastly is Phantom Knight Rank Up Magic. And the reason why I like this card is because it can generically rank up a Dark Xyz monster into a Phantom Knight Raid Raptor Xyz Dragon monster very easily. Now it makes Rebellion Requiem Dragon more playable by being able to use this on top of Rebellion Xyz Dragon. I think it's a very good card because, again, it's also searchable with cards like Bardiche and also Raid Raptor Wise Tricks. So I went ahead and graded Legacy support as a 4 because even though we're not getting a ton of very good Legacy support, I think the Legacy support that we are getting a lot of good support for, which is Raid Raptor and Phantom Knights, it's actually very good. So that's why I felt I could justify a 4 for this metric. Next is impact to the meta format. Overall, I think these are the cards or engines that are going to be able to make an impact, if you can say an impact. So starting here, Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon, Device Arsenal AA-zeus, and Virtual World Shen. These 3 cards are kind of like new boss monsters that people can go into in our meta today. They can be used fairly generically, so I think that does make a level of impact. Probably one of the stronger generic tech cards is Alpha the Master of Beast. Really, this can be used in any deck, and it can send any monster on your opponent's side of the field back to their hand as long as you can send this monster. And it's even better in a Beast Warrior Wing Beast strategy because you can send multiple cards back to your opponent's hand. And lastly, Tri-Brigade and Mutants are more splashable engines that can be used in a variety of different archetypes that can fit very well into it. So I think we might start seeing Mutants and Tri-Brigades being play tested more into our current meta. But overall, I think mostly what's coming in Phantom Rage is mostly complementing and adding options to our current meta. And I don't think it's not necessarily going to be shifting our meta. I went ahead and graded this as a 3. I think it's medium. I think they're very good additions to our meta. It might change some tech card choices, but not terribly significantly. So next is collector value. We're going to be getting Phantom Knight, Xyz Dragon, Raid Raptor support, which are fan favorites from the Arc V anime. Definitely that's probably some of my favorite archetypes in the Arc V anime from when I watched it. So there are a lot of Phantom Knight and Raid Raptor players out there to where I feel that could help drive value for this product. I think value in terms of collectability comes from the Starlight Rares for sealed product, for core product, and also when you're opening it, it just gives you so much more value and a better return on your investment when you get Starlight rares. So we know Hida is going to be coming as a Starlight rare. We don't know what the other 4 are going to be yet, but we could imagine it's likely going to be like maybe Zoo King Alpha, maybe Warning Point, maybe Arc Rebellion, Xyz Dragon, some cards that I feel will probably be within the $200 to $500 range. And again, that's just free added value if you're a vendor buying multiple cases, because you should be seeing a Starlight rare anywhere between like 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 cases. So overall, I graded this as a 4. I think that Phantom Knight and Raid Raptors bumped this to where it would have been a 3 to a 4, so I feel that it is fairly high. Next for our metrics is reprint ratio selection. So good news, in my opinion, is that we don't really get reprints in core product, and that's a good thing because every time you get reprints, it's likely not going to be higher than the value of its predecessor in terms of its previous print. So every time you reprint cards, it seems that drops value by 40 to like 70%, sometimes higher in terms of value, and you don't want to be getting diluted value cards, because the more you print of a particular card, the more there is in the marketplace, meaning there's more supply, and sometimes if there's not enough demand, value drops. So because of that, I graded this as a 5, and I think this warrants a 5 for pretty much all core sets. Our last metric for this video is product value versus cost. MSRP is around $11.49 per case. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, for the Patreon moving forward, our lowest value we can offer is $630 per case for core product moving forward. So when you look at it from this perspective, if you're buying at near wholesale rates or at like best wholesale rates, if you actually have a brick and mortar, you really can't lose money necessarily. Now, if it's a really bad core product, you're probably going to be breaking even. But for Phantom Rage, I think this is actually a strong product. It has a lot going for it. I think there is definitely going to be a level of demand to where you're definitely not going to lose money. And again, if you're buying as a vendor multiple cases, you should have a higher likelihood of getting Starlight rares, which again just adds to your return on your investment and increases your profit margins pretty significantly. So overall, I'm grading this as a 4. I feel it is fairly high for this product. All right, guys, so that ends all of our scoring for the metrics for this analysis. So the overall score for our risk analysis for Phantom Rage comes out to a 79%. Now, in our initial risk analysis on Phantom Rage, this was a 78%, and we have changed the template and format of how we do these risk analysis videos, so our metrics have changed a bit, but honestly, it hasn't changed our score too much. I think I have the same conclusion that I did before. Honestly, I think it is a fair and balanced product. I don't think there is a lot of things coming out of here that is just completely 100% broken. I mean, there are some good cards in there that are good OTK facilitators, good tech card choices, good archetypes that are good engines that can be thrown into other archetypes and engines in the meta. But I don't really think it's anything that's terribly meta shifting. It does have some collectability. I think it hits all the marks good enough to where this is going to be a good core set, and you should be seeing a good return as long as you're buying in terms of cases. And guys, if you're buying display boxes and if you're buying sealed packs, you might want to consider buying singles. If you have a particular card you're looking after, go and look at singles. But if you're a vendor, you want to be buying cases because you should be beating the odds in terms of ratios more every case that you buy of getting certain chase cards and getting Starlight rares in order to make money on your investment. So guys, that's going to end the video. What do you guys think about Phantom Rage? Do you guys agree or disagree with me with any of these scores or choices that I made in this video? Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. Also, guys, again, if you are wanting to get into Yu-Gi-Oh vending and want to do it seriously, where you're buying product consistently, you guys should highly consider the RDT Patreon in partnership with Pro Play Games. There is no better time to be a patron on the Patreon right now because we have just started being able to give the lowest prices possible, in my opinion, that you can find outside of going to a distributor directly. So guys, go check out the Patreon. You can find the link down in the description below. And lastly, guys, if you enjoyed the video, if you want to help support this channel by helping the YouTube algorithm, like this video. And also, if you guys enjoy this type of Yu-Gi-Oh modern investment content, you guys should subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell right now so you don't miss any content from me. So thank you guys for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next video on RogueDuelist Trade.